Hi, my name's Dave. I'm down here in Queensland and I've just got a job interview. It's called Mr. Dicky Dave! Right, so let's get serious. What the hell was Dave doing on his channel the other day? He was all dressed up in a suit, trying to be like AD. He was pulling an AD and he claims that he went for a job interview. So he wants to assure us he wasn't fired from his last one. Anyway, this is supposed to be my last episode in the Dave series, but guess what? It's not going to be the last episode. It's going to be the last episode of the first series. I'm doing a series 2. Most of you have really liked my Dave podcasts, so I'm going to continue doing them until I get sick of them and you get sick of them. The Dave stuff that I've done has been the most popular stuff that I've done on my channel in the last few months. So I'm going to continue doing them. Now, let me just get it straight. How do I put it? I hate what Dave is doing. That doesn't mean to say that I have that I don't think that he has any good qualities at all. I think that he's a dodgy character amongst many other things, many other narratives. I think that he's a dodgy character. I think he's highly deceptive and dishonest. But he does have a few positive attributes, and they are a few. You know, he's engaging, he's funny, but basically speaking, I think he needs to be exposed, and I think he's a con. So I'm Netflixing these Dave podcasts. This is the end of my first series. So this was season 1, and I'm going to start on season 2 at some point. The ongoing obsession between Dave and AD with NK, it continues to be a battle between them over who can make up the most ridiculous stories, the most ridiculous lies, manipulate information, try to make her look like she's as guilty as possible, because they both have an obsession with NK, which fuels and feeds the obsession that their audiences have with NK. This part was not going to be in this podcast. I just found this morning, and Dave put a community post up with this message apparently from this person talking about NK. And it says, my wife and I were close family friends with her parents. This is supposedly somebody saying that they knew NK when she was a child. Our children grew up with theirs. Nicole was always a problem child, and especially so when she was a teen. I just want to say that she stabbed me in the back with a kitchen knife and was arrested and charged with a felony. However, the judge deferred her felony conviction if she could stay out of trouble. This incident divided both families, and we have not spoken since that last court hearing. This happened in 2004 or 2005, can't remember exactly what year, in Aurora, Colorado. Anyway, she's entirely capable of being involved in the murders. She's a narcissist, and that's where the message cuts off. But none of that can be substantiated. There's no proof that any of that happened. With people hiding behind profiles and accounts on many social media sites, not just YouTube or Facebook. Even if that did happen, it still doesn't mean that she's involved in the Watts crimes. Still doesn't believe that she had anything to do with the actual murders, even if this actually happened, what this person says that she did as a child. But also, it cannot be substantiated. The amount of lies told about and just how people manipulate information about NK and about Shanann, which I will be talking about and dealing with in a next podcast and in upcoming parts of this podcast. The lies and the manipulation of this case and the facts in this case, it's just become a case about idle gossip for views. And that's what it is. And that's what Dave and AD do better than anybody else. Manipulate information for views. And that's what I'm against. There's a few things that I want to talk about in this particular podcast. One of the things I want to talk about is Lana. Now, I've done about 2 podcasts on Lana. And once I did those, I wasn't interested in speaking about her ever again. Lana is somebody to me who is kind of somebody who you ask her something about this case, the case in question, and she just gives you word salad. To me, she's never been somebody that I would look to in terms of knowledge, in terms of me thinking that she has any valuable opinions. I think she's a manipulator. And from my last podcast, over the last few weeks, the last few months, I've had people messaging me on my podcast about Lana. I didn't even know that she had a channel still going. It was somebody who alerted me that she had a channel still going. I thought after the 35C debacle, I thought that, I didn't really think about her again. And, a few people have said to me, can you do a podcast on Lana? She's doing this, she's doing that, telling me what she's up to. I kind of didn't even know she still had a channel. And I thought, I really don't want to do another podcast on Lana. But what I want to say about her is that, I have been hearing a lot about her. People come to my channel and write me comments under those old videos that I did on Lana. And, one person is telling me this, that she's up to this. One person is telling me that she's up to that. A lot of the comments that I get about Lana are not very positive. With her Shazam videos in the first place, I never ever thought of her as a credible person. To me, mocking a murdered pregnant woman is just not something that you do. It's just not classy. It's cruel. It's soulless. You just don't do that. And moving on to my next point, I'm going to do a podcast on Shanann one of these days because I am really sick and tired of seeing people bashing a murder victim. I have never seen anyone bashing a murder victim the way they do Shanann. And I just don't understand it. That even though I've done the What's Case on my channel, there's a reason why you don't see a lot of pictures of Shanann and the children. And that's out of respect for the family. I try not to use images of Shanann and the children. I've used some images of Shanann at times, but very, very, very rarely do I use images of Shanann because I've tried to, the family are going through hell and they probably don't want to see her picture plastered all over the place. It's just awful what's going on with people continuing to bash this woman. To me, there should be some kind of law or rule that says you cannot mock and jibe and bash and slander and defame a murder victim like this on YouTube or on any social media site. I just think it's a disgrace. Getting back to Lana, I've heard that there's been a personal protection order taken out against her by somebody. I heard once that she was suing Jays for justice for 100 million or something for slander or something like that. Lana is somebody that kind of, like I said, I've never ever heard anything from her with regard to this case that I find to be anything more than word salad. You ask her a question and she kind of never gets to the point. She just kind of like beats around the bush. And it's a bit like with Kim K, when Kim K was on the scene. It's all word salad. She talks and talks and talks, but she never gets to the point, and there's never any meaning or productiveness in what she says. That's how I see Lana. I see her as a very artificial person. And, based upon what I've heard, she's always getting into trouble with somebody. She's always having a spat with someone. She's always having a run-in with somebody. And I just think she's a dodgy character as well. I also know that her and Dave have had some run-ins with each other and some crosswords with each other. So the community, the true crime community in the Watts case, is kind of, people are just bumping shoulders with each other all the time. And Lana is somebody to me who is, I don't get the sense that she is a genuine person. And I think she just used the Watts case and her brief association with the Watts family to try and get some, of her 15 minutes of fame. And she's trying to hang on to that, by pretending that she's helping families. But I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't necessarily hate her. And let me just say, this channel is not about bullying. I have no interest in bullying anybody. I have no interest in being in a feud with anybody. That includes Miss Mensa. In fact, if Miss Mensa came back to my channel and she left, I know she listens to me all the time. I know that. She comes to my channel and she listens to me, even though she claims she doesn't want to hear anything from me again or hear anything on my channel again. I know that she does come and listen to my, what's on my channel. And even though I absolutely do not agree with what Miss Mensa does on her channels, let's just call her Brenda. I do not agree with what Brenda does with regards to Shanann on her channels. If she was respectful to me, if she left me a message and it was respectful, I would speak to her back in a respectful manner. I'm not like Kelly, who, she's in a feud with Miss Mensa. This has been ongoing for a long time, and Kelly just likes to yell, shout, and scream. And I understand Kelly's passion. I've got nothing against Kelly either. Me and Kelly have had a few cross exchanges with each other as well. But I have nothing personally against Kelly. But I think Kelly, the best way to handle Miss Mensa, instead of yelling and screaming and shouting, which, yeah, it creates drama. Yeah, it's funny and all that kind of stuff. But instead of being hysterical and just sounding like a lunatic, the best way to deal with Miss Mensa is with sarcasm. Because that's how she deals with a lot of things. She uses sarcasm. So, yelling and screaming and shouting and swearing is just not the type of thing that I want to be doing on my channel. My channel is about positivity. It's about human behavior. It's about, taking a deeper dive into true crime or my personal experiences or famous people or characters, that are infamous. It's about examining human behavior. It's not about bullying. I'm not interested in being a bully. This is not high school. I'm not interested in being a mean girl. There are many feuds within the Watts community on YouTube. You've got Mummy Ramblings and Natasha Cooper. I might do a podcast on her one day because some people have asked me to do one. They don't like each other, and the things that they say about each other are just really nasty. It makes the things that Dave and AD say about each other look quite tame. And I do think that women can be kind of more slanderous, women and women against other women, it can get really nasty. Men against other men, yeah, but not as bad. I think women can be really, really, really nasty with each other. But back to Dave, Dave and AD are definitely in competition over, who can manipulate information with regard to NK. And they both want each other out of the equation. And I always have thought that Dave was trying to be like AD. I really have. And when I was watching him for a few minutes the other day, I just thought, oh, he's trying to be like AD. I think that they are fighting over manipulating information or making up false information over NK, and with AD saying that NK was laying flowers outside the house, and the woman in that image wasn't even NK, which just goes to show you that people can look alike, and you can mistake somebody for somebody else very, very easily. I mean, she actually, if you don't look at her face, if you can't see her face, she actually does look very much like she could be NK, but I think we found out now that she's not NK. And Dave was criticizing AD over that. But both of them, they will do anything to put NK at the scene before or after, day or night, because they know that's exactly what their audience wants. Their audiences are obsessed with NK. So, it's just manipulation of information. Nothing has changed. Nothing's going to change. She's not going to get arrested or charged. They just like to manipulate information about NK because that's what gets them their super chats.